so today I'm here for a book haul. So I have a book haul for the months of February and March, and I have 17 books to show you for the 2 months of book buying and book receiving, and I am pretty keen because in the month of January I bought 17 books for the whole month, so I think I'm getting slightly better. And also this book haul would have been 18 books, but one of the books I ordered off Book Depository got lost in the mail, and I just kept waiting for it to turn up, but it was a month ago that I made the order, so I would have filmed this book haul earlier, but I was waiting and I've already sent an email to Book Depository, so I will just put that book in my next book haul and film this one now so you can see all the goodies that I bought in the last 2 months. So in the month of February I only bought 8 books, which I think is pretty good considering, and I have read 5 of them, so that's really good. So the first book I got is The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller, and this is one that I've already read and I really enjoyed it. It was so much fun. So Alessandra is our main character, and after being overlooked way too many times, she has this big plan to gain power by wooing the Shadow King, marrying him, and then killing him and taking his kingdom for herself. So she's a very cunning character, a very much Slytherin character, and she gets into the palace and she starts to learn about the Shadow King, but after a little while people start to make attempts on his life, so she has to keep him alive long enough that she then can kill him. And it's just a great story, it's a great fantasy, and it's a standalone fantasy, which is also really good. And I just enjoyed this book so much, and honestly Trisha Levenseller is becoming one of my favorite authors. Her writing is so good, and I've read all the books that she has published now, and this one was just especially fun and I highly recommend. Next I bought Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Oseman, and oh my god, this was adorable. This is another one that I've read. It's almost like filming a wrap up because again this book haul is coming quite late, but I enjoyed this so much. This is actually a bigger volume than any of the other ones that she has published, and I'm so sad that I have to wait until next year to get volume 4 because I want to know what's going on. And I do know that she uploads the web series online, but I kind of want to read it in the physical form. Like, yeah, I could read it on the weekly basis, but then when I buy the volume it's not worth reading it again, so I am just going to have to wait. I loved this book so much, and it's obviously so cute and fluff, but it also delved into some topics that were a bit more serious than the previous 2 volumes, which I just really enjoyed, and it has a lot about growing up, and it was just so good, and I highly recommend this comic series if you haven't read them yet. Then I bought Pumpkinhead by Ra, which is another one I've read. Graphic novels are quite easy to get through, and I read it for a readathon like in February or something. I bought this at the same time as Heartstopper because this is one that I've been wanting to get my hands on for a little while now as well, but I did really enjoy it. And the main plot of it is our main characters are Deja and Josiah, and Josiah has had this crush on the girl that works at the pumpkin patch for the last 4 years, but he's never talked to her. So Deja is forcing him to confront his fears and go talk to her, but they can't find her, so they have to walk all around the pumpkin patch trying to find her, and it was great. Next I bought a copy of Havenfall by Sarah Holland, and this is one I actually haven't read, and I do really want to read this one. It is one of my anticipated reads, which is the reason I bought it. I feel like this is kind of a hard book to explain, but basically there's like this magical inn where there is 4 magical doorways in it, and they go to different worlds and people can come and go, but there's one doorway that hasn't been opened for like 1,000 years or something, and suddenly it opens, and then it just kind of goes from there, and the main character's got to try and figure out why the door opened and who's going to come out. I think I may be explaining this really wrong. I feel like it's a book that I kind of don't want to know too much about before I go into it because it seems like it's going to be such an intricate book, and I am very much excited to read it. Then I had to get a copy of Tweet Cute by Emma Lord just because I really enjoyed this audiobook so much that I wanted my own copy, and if you haven't picked this up yet you really need to. So this story revolves around Pepper and Jack, and Pepper is a perfectionist and she has been working so hard to get her grades up and studying, but her mother keeps making her run the Twitter account for the Big League Burger Company, which her mother and father created, and it's become this big chain around America, and she doesn't even have time to sleep, but at least she is working on the Twitter and doing stuff for the company and making her way through her life, but everything is kind of a struggle for her. Then comes in Jack, who is just the class clown and a crazy character that I did really enjoy, but Jack works for his family deli, which he has a love-hate relationship with, but when Big League Burgers steals a recipe from his deli, he has no problem starting a war on Twitter that escalates very quickly, and it brings both good media and bad media for both companies, and it was just a really fun book, and it really goes from there. There's not too much more to say because you really want to experience this book in a great way, and I hope I explained it right. I feel like just trying to explain books today has been too hard for me. The next book I have is The Vanishing by Astrid Schulte, so I had to get her next book that she's written after I enjoyed Four Dead Queens so much. And like, the plot of this book is really exciting because basically the whole world has been covered in water, and there's basically only a few more places left of land. So the main character Tempe is a scavenger who like searches through the water for treasure that she can sell, but Tempe really only wants to save money so she can revive her dead sister for a couple of hours, so she's able to talk about the secrets that her sister kept before she died. But when her sister comes back she has other plans, and she doesn't want to spend the last couple of hours of her life trying to talk through a crime that she didn't commit. So they break out of the facility that they've been living in, and there are secrets that get uncovered, and I'm just keen. Like, honestly, the idea of having scavengers scavengers when the world is full of water sounds really interesting to me, so I'm really keen to read this book. The next book I bought was The Princess and the Fang Go by Ashley Posden. So this is the second book to Geekerella, but it's about different characters, and it was just a really fun book. I love these geeky convention stories, and this is a Princess and the Pauper retelling, and it was really fun because the main characters are Jess and Imogen. And so Jess is the actress that plays Amara in the Starfield movies, and Imogen is just a really big fangirl, and they end up switching lives. Jess needs to figure out who is leaking the script of the second movie, and Imogen wants to try and make an impact for the fans of the characters. But it was a really fun story to read, and I do highly recommend picking up Geekerella if you haven't picked it up yet, and then pick this one up because it was really good. Okay, so on to the March books, where I actually did buy 9 of them, but as I said, there was that one book that didn't turn up, so I have 8 books to show you. So the first book I bought was The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson. I had to get the third book to complete my series on my shelf, and again, I did listen to this one on audiobook. Had so much fun. If you haven't picked up Truly Devious yet, you really need to. It was really good, and I do think the conclusion of this series was done really well, and I did listen to it in 2 days on the drive back from Newcastle, and it got intense. Like, these books really keep you on edge, and the dual timeline and the murders and all the information that you keep finding out, it is really good, and I just want more people to read these books. So I finally got a copy of A Study in Chela by Brittany Calvalario, is that how you say her name? And the main reason I want this book is because I love Truly Devious so much that I want another book like it. So I do hope that this is going to be fun, and it's kind of a gender bent story of Sherlock and Watson, which I don't really know too much about because I never really watched the TV show of it or read the books or know too much about it, but I do know that he's a great detective and it's going to be about school kids doing it. So I think this is going to be fun, and I just like this murder mystery kind of stories, and I just hope it's really good. I finally got my copy of Imagine Me by Tahara Murphy because I pre-ordered it, and then it finally came out at the end of March, and I finally got it, and it is so crazy because I remember when I first found out that they were going to write 3 more books for this series, and now this is the last one. Like, it's over. Like, there's not going to be any more, and I still have 2 more books to read in this series, so I don't really know what's going to happen in this book, but I hope it's epic. Restore Me was alright, but it also wasn't as good as I expected, but I do want to see where this is going to go, so I am excited to have this book, and I still don't like this cover because the eyeball being bejeweled is just really weird. Next, I got a copy of Love Her and Lose Her by Tessa Bailey, so I already had a copy of Fix Her Up, and I definitely wanted a copy of this one as well, even though I did listen to it on audio. So this book is about Rosie and Dominic, who were characters in the first book, and it's just about how their marriage is falling apart, so they go to marriage counselling, and it was just hilarious. I really did enjoy this, and these characters, like, you know, because I've known each other for so long, but they got to re-fall in love with each other. It was a great story, and I just had so much fun with this contemporary, and now I am so keen for the third book because it's going to be about Bethany, and I need it. Next, I got a copy of Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare, but I needed to buy this straight away to get the collector's first edition so that I could have Tessa and Will's wedding little short story that I'm so excited to read when I finally get to this. But basically, this is book set after the Infernal Devices, where it's about all the kids from their relationships from the first book, and I'm just keen. Like, I don't really know much about where this is going to go because we don't have much history about what these kids did, and we only have like sort of snippets of stuff that goes on, but I can't wait to get into this book when I finally catch up with the rest of the Shadowhunter books that I need to reread, then read, but I'm just so glad I have this. Then I had to get a copy of House of Blood and Earth by Sarah J Maas. I have already read this one, and I had so much fun with it. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars, and I highly recommend people reading it. Even though it is 800 pages, it was so worth it to read this, and I just can't wait for the next book because I need to know what's going to happen, and it's Sarah J Maas. There's not too much more to say. People need to pick this up and read it. It was great. Next, I got Only Mostly Devastated by Sophie Gonzalez, and I had to buy this because it is a gender bent Grease retelling, and I don't need to know more. I think it's going to be great. I saw a lot of people talking highly about it, so I had to get my hands on a copy of it, and I really want to read it soon. I just don't know when. The next book I've got is Not the Girl You Marry by Andy J Christopher. So basically what got me with this book is it's kind of a gender bent modern How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days because the guy is the one that's actually kind of like the reporter character, and I am just keen because obviously this character is going to be fake dating, and they're both going to have agendas dating each other, and I do think it's going to be a quick and easy adult contemporary to read, and I am just excited like I am for all these books. So the last book I did actually get in April, but it was actually a gift for my birthday from Sasha, so thank you very much for buying me this book. I'm so excited to have it. But that is Dress Codes of Small Towns by Courtney Stevens, and I know this is like one of her favorite books. Like, she talked so many praises about this, and I always knew I wanted to buy it, but she bought it for me, which is really great for me. The main character Billy lives in this really small town, and she suddenly realized that she is in love with both her best boyfriend and her best girlfriend. Then her 2 best friends start dating each other, but then she has to go for a lot of self-discovery because in her town, it's a boy and a girl falls in love. There is no bisexuality and there's no gay or lesbian, like there is nothing, and she doesn't want to have a label stamped on her, but she also needs to discover her own sexuality. So I am very keen to read this because I think it's going to be a really good book with a really good message, and I am just excited for it. Oh god damn, these are heavy. Can I do it? Oh my god, look at the colors, they're so pretty. There is so much weight here because there's some thick boys. And what's also exciting is I've already read 8 out of these 17 books, so there's only 9 here to go on the TBR, and I hope to get to them soon. Like, you always say, yeah, I'm gonna read this, and then it never happens, but I'm really gonna try and read some of these in the next couple of months.